Hello everyone, another week, another video, and today I've come up with a video which is going to talk about characters that have inspired me. The book characters. So I'll be talking to you about 5 books that have characters which really change the way I think about life. I want to be a better version of myself, which I was, not before. So these characters of these books gave me inspiration to be fearless, to take challenges, and what it is all about I'll discuss in this video. And I will also talk about the plot, a little summary about these books. If you haven't heard about these books, they are interesting books. They're very easy to understand, and anyone who is starting their reading journey can pick these books. So let's start with the 5 characters that I loved the most in these books. So the first book on my list is, in fact, the first character on my list is Howard Roark, and the book is The Fountainhead. Now, Howard Roark is an interesting character. He's a perfect man and a man of few words, only to those who do not know him. He's an architect by profession. It's obvious he constructs buildings, and he is an encyclopedia on buildings. He knows the workings of the buildings in and out, and yet he lacks the social skills with people. This is about 700-page long book, and it will not cost you much. It's about, I think, under 400 rupees on Amazon. But coming back to Howard Roark, Howard Roark is a character. I fell in love with this character for his dedication to his craft, to his architecture, for his curiosity in buildings, and for his sheer interest and dedication, which is unmatched. As I read the book further, I got to know from Howard Roark that why creators like him are originals, and why people who just follow or copy are the ones that the society should question, and not him. His speech at the end of the book, which you'll find in the last few pages, will give you goosebumps. In fact, it gave me goosebumps when he actually gave out that speech in the courtroom. Howard Roark inspired me to believe in what I wanted to do in life. Not follow the trends, the usual, but go after that I'm passionate about, and not think about public people as usual. His lines still echo in my mind, which is at the beginning of this novel, when he's about to be expelled from his college. He's in the 4th year, he's completed 3 years, and the dean questions him. And the reason why he questions him is because he has created a modern building as his final project, while the college is only supporting classical kind of architecture. Dean says, think about your clients. It's the house that you are building for them that they want to live in. And Howard Roark says, as a matter of fact, that those clients who want me will come to me. Now this says a lot about a guy who is in his 20s and is still not graduated, is still in his 4th year, and he's so crystal clear about his vision in life, about what he wants to do, and he has supreme belief in his ability, and he does not believe in the usual, the trend, the people, just like Dean. And he continues on his journey, and his journey is awesome. If you read this book, I found it a wonderful book to read. The second book that I'm going to talk about is one of my favorites. It is Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist. I bought this book a long time back. I don't remember which year, but this is a bestseller. And let me tell you, it's only 172 pages long. So I think if you are an avid reader, you will finish this book in just 1 day or 2 days at the most. And if you are somebody who reads once in a while, you can finish this book in 3 to 4 days. The language is very simple, and this book costs about 229 rupees on Amazon. So, if you fancy this kind of book, you should pick this up. To give you a brief about why I read it, what I liked about it is the character of Santiago. Now, Santiago is a shepherd who wants to travel the world. That's his, desire. But his father is a farmer who's an average guy, who's, not wealthy. So he says to him that if you want to travel the world, and since we are not rich, you should become a shepherd. And so he becomes a shepherd. He takes his sheep to places and travels his region. But what happens that he has a dream which happens on a regular basis. In this dream, he sees that he is on a lookout for a treasure, and he finds the treasure. So Santiago, with this belief that he can find his treasure, goes on a journey which takes him from his country, which is Spain, to the continent of Africa and into Egypt. What would you do if you go to a continent or a place or a city which is different? People don't know you, the language is different, and you have that barrier, and all the money that you have collected to travel so that you can get your treasure gets lost. Somebody steals it. What would you do? I think most of us will back out of our dream and probably go back home and just worry and say that, why did I actually do it in the first place? I lost all my money. But not Santiago. He took on the journey, he moved on, and that adventurous spirit of his actually inspired me to believe in the fact that whatever goes wrong in your life, never give up. And your dream can come true because you are in control of your destiny. You have to look for omens. And that's what this book talks about generally, omens. So he says to himself that either he can feel like a victim who lost his money to a thief, or he can become an adventurer. And that spirit of his felt like something that I can actually take from Santiago. Now, this book is, as I told you, a wonderful read. It is easy, the language is easy, and it talks about his journey, which he takes from Spain to Africa and then to pyramids, where he actually meets an alchemist. Before that, he meets an alchemist in a desert, and he shows him the way. So it's an interesting story. I think you should pick this book right away. The third book that I'll discuss in this video today is A Man Called Uwe, and the character of this book that I want to discuss, that I got inspired by, is Uwe. Now, this book is, again, not a big, it's about 290 pages long. This book will not cost you much. Again, it will be around 250 to 300 rupees book on Amazon. The book has a simple language, and the plot, let's discuss about it later. But what it talks about is the guy, Uwe, who is a man of certain order. He believes in high moral ground, and he wants to create things. So he does not like technology because he thinks that technology makes people lazy. They don't want to do things that can be done with bare hands. If you read this book, you'll realize that this guy, is a man of action. He does not say things. He does that for you, and you see them right there in front of your eyes. I got inspired by this book for the sheer reason that this guy is so misunderstood by the people around him in his locality. And when actually you get to know the real person, the real Uwe, you get to know how different he is from other people. His love for his wife, which is unmatchable. Now, I would not reveal much of the plot, but as you would realize, I would read the pages, you would realize that this guy has a heart of gold. But you have to read this book for that. What particularly struck me when I read this book and I read this character, which was really something that I thought, probably if I had in me, I would have been a different person, or better person for that matter. He believes in hard work. So if I had the eyes of Uwe, I would have worked my ass off or worked really hard to achieve my goals. You know, you want to achieve something in life, and if you work like Uber, anything is possible. This book is a beautiful read, an emotional read, and one of the characters that I really liked. So the fourth book on my list is an award-winning book called The Underground Railroad, and the character that I'm going to talk about is the principal character of this book, CORA. She inspired me in many ways. I mean, how would you feel if you were born as a slave in a plantation and you were not even considered fit to be a human being? Would you like to give up your freedom in the hands of those who torment you, who torture you mentally and physically on a regular basis, and you work like a slave? I mean, I think 99.9% of the people would not even survive in that kind of environment. And CORA lives all her young life and some of her adult life in this plantation. She's born to a slave black woman called Mabel, and she treasures her freedom. And because of that, she escapes the plantation. I just thought in my head how it would feel to be a slave just for one day, and I felt terrible. I mean, the idea of somebody dominating you on a regular basis, it just kills you. And CORA lives almost that kind of life on a regular basis. And CORA fights for this freedom every second of her life. Now, the character of CORA inspired me to not give up at any point in time in your life and earn your freedom. For CORA, it was her freedom from the people who wanted her as a slave. And for me personally, I could relate with the fact that I would earn my financial freedom for my family and for myself. I could relate to CORA on that level, that she is a fighter. I mean, she does everything in her power to achieve that freedom. And this book is a great book to read. It's only about 390 odd page long. It's a prize-winning book. It's a Pulitzer Prize-winning book. The author, Colson Whitehead, won it in 2017. The plot is about this girl who lives, I think, in 18th or 19th century, living in a plantation. She escapes it, and her journey as she escapes. And the way she does it is she travels through a network of underground railroad, which is beneath the earth. So she travels in that secret underground railroad with a guy chasing her. I would say the language is not easy, but you can understand it. You will have difficulty because there are certain words, phrases that are not easy to understand. So you'll have to probably refer a dictionary. But for a book like this, you can read its review on Amazon or Goodreads. It's worth it. The fifth and the last book of this video, which wraps up this list of books that I want to talk about, list of characters that I wanted to talk about that inspired me, is none other than Elif Shafak, The 40 Rules of Love. So this story comes from Middle East, and it talks about the love of one of the most famous poet of 12th century, who still is famous through his poems, called Rumi. I think most of you would know about him. And somebody who I think I did not know about, probably you might have heard of him or have not, I'm not sure, but his name is Shams of Tabriz, or Shams of Tabriz. Now, this is the guy that I want to talk about, and not Rumi. His character inspired me immensely in this book. I just read this book, and I think I'll come up with the full review of this particular book, I think very soon in my future video. But before that, as I told you, this Shams of Tabriz is the guy who inspired me to have a different perspective about life. So what do you think? How would you think if I said to you, love is one special feeling that not only drives the world, but the whole universe? Sounds poetic, right? This character of Shams of Tabriz in this book, 40 Rules of Love, is one such guy who talks about the power of love. And as you read and as you get to know about the character, you understand that love is a feeling which brings you closer to God. Now you hear about people who are close to God, but not like Shams of Tabriz. He's a guy who talks about the power and the love of Almighty, and he wants to share this love with all the people that he meets. He doesn't believe in caste, social prejudices, or rich and poor, but he thinks that everyone who is part of this universe or this world or this creation is a creation of God, and he wants to share his love with each one of them. And he knows that there are people who hate him, but he does not want to hate them because even they are the creation of God. In a nutshell, Shams of Tabriz is a spiritual person. Now, the plot of this book is Shams of Tabriz has a vision or a dream, and he sees that he is going to meet his companion, Rumi, and he travels all the way from his city of Tabriz to another place where Rumi's guru or Rumi's master has a vision, or Rumi's vision, that he will be meeting his companion. That's how they meet, and the story progresses. Where they meet, how it happens, you need to read the book. It's a wonderful book. It's about 350 page long. It took me 4 or 5 days to finish it. It kept me hooked. It is one of Elif Shafak's great work. You might have heard of this writer. She is a wonderful writer, and she has woven a story of love. There are lots of other characters thrown in as well that you would read about, but back to Shams of Tabriz. Now, through this character, Shams of Tabriz, I got to understand that if you are in communion with God, if you are in meditation with God, with the power that created everything in this world, and that's how he puts it, and with his 40 rules of love, he explains them in detail. So if you are in communion with God, you have the power to overcome anything in your life. He also showed to me that you can reach out to anyone with this power that God has given to you. And Shams of Tabriz is an embodiment of that love of God. He also inspired me to believe that whatever happens in your life happens for a reason, and you should trust in God in making sure that everything will work out if you believe in Him. So these are the 5 characters that are talked about in these 5 books. I hope you like them, and if in any way these characters inspired you to kind of have a different outlook on life, then I should urge you to read these 5 books. And let me know in the comments below if you like this video, and share your comments and subscribe to this channel. Share this video with your friends and like. Thank you so much for watching this video.